Joining me now is Deanne Criswell, former FEMA administrator. It's really important to have someone with your expertise on right now. Do you see, if Kristi Noem is behind the scenes and she's saying we have to support the need here, is that a sign to you that without a plan for how to reorient or eliminate FEMA, she, at least, and a few others that were just named, realize it's hard to see how the U.S. can do without FEMA?
Yeah, Chris, Kristi Noem was a governor of South Dakota. I had an opportunity to meet with her after some significant flooding that South Dakota experienced last year. And I think she knows, the role and the needs that communities have and how FEMA comes in to support those communities. I don't think anybody disagrees that there are ways to improve the efficiency and get rid of some of the bureaucracy in the way that FEMA delivers programs. But it is a necessary function to be able to assist these communities when they experience these really catastrophic events. And it has to be done thoughtfully and over time and in partnership with the states, right? So they can understand what's going to be expected of them and they can plan appropriately ahead of time. If you were to make massive changes right before hurricane season, nobody would be prepared and they would be at greater risk of having significant impacts to their communities.
There are local papers in Florida, for example, that are reporting right now that they rely on FEMA, that localities are relying on FEMA to remove storm debris, to cover overtime for first responders. Maybe at some point, as you say, there's a longer term plan where states or someone else picks up that expense. But right now, given the budgets in place, walk us through what FEMA does on the ground in the immediate aftermath and of, not just of the storm, but then after all of the news media goes away and people are left with things like rebuilding and debris.
Well, it's a really good question because I think that there's always a lot of confusion as to what FEMA's role really is. FEMA doesn't replace those first responders. Every disaster starts and ends at that local jurisdiction. The firefighters, EMS, police officers, the National Guard, they are going in there to do that immediate response to help those communities as the storm passes and when it's safe for them to do so. When it exceeds their capability, that's when the state can ask FEMA to send in additional assistance. And in the response phase, we can send in search and rescue teams. We can pre-stage commodities like food and water so it can be readily available if needed. And we only employ those resources when the state asks for them. And so that's the role in the beginning. And I think one of the biggest pieces of that, too, is there's a team that's embedded with that state director. So they're working side by side. And as that state director identifies a need, FEMA can act quickly to make sure a resource is moving and can get to that community as quickly as possible. But as you said, when the cameras go away and all of the media goes away and they're continuing their recovery, what FEMA is a reimbursement. The states always have the responsibility. They are always in charge of their recovery. FEMA's role is to reimburse them for some of the costs that they incur if they're eligible under the different programs. And we want to work with them and provide them sometimes technical assistance if they don't have the capacity to do it on their own. And so it just not the reimbursement, but that technical assistance is also so important, just like you said, with debris removal. Many states have really good contracts, but some don't. And so that way, we have an ability to, tap into like the Army Corps of Engineers to come in and assist them if they don't have the necessary means to be able to bring in their own contractors to remove that debris. It's really about a partnership and making sure we're working together to achieve the governor's goals.
As we are just a couple of days away from the start of what is expected to be a bigger than average hurricane season, your expertise is invaluable helping people understand the role of FEMA. So thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks, Chris.